Hello and welcome into my latest live broadcast. And joining me today, your name is?
Rich.
Rich. You guys said, Carrie, you're Rich. No, I'm Carrie. This is Rich. I'd say I wish I was rich. Do it.
Some people will say, are you
Maybe
rich? And I'm like, no, I'm
that
not
would be
that
Richie Rich. That's a different.
That's a different Richie Rich.
Yeah, okay. So, well, thanks for joining me in my kitchen/computer lab. And why are you here? Tell us why you're here.
Well, I've been seeing some problems with my hard drive. Been slowing down. And I've been thinking of upgrading it and replacing it before it fails. So I've never cloned a drive, but I watched this video and it's very informative, but I still am a little nervous about doing it myself, because if I screw it up, I've screwed up my whole computer and I got to rebuild the whole thing.
But you don't want to do that?
I don't want to do that.
It's
no,
fun.
It would take,
when it's somebody
more time
else's.
than I want to spend. I'd just probably go buy a new one or something rather than spend all that time.
So we've got an HP, what is this? An HP Pavilion Elite HPE 270F PC. This cost some money back in the day, huh?
Yeah, it sure did. It cost a couple $1,000s.
Whew. Well,
back in 2010.
Let's see what's on the inside. It looks like you've done quite a number of upgrades here. I'm seeing a graphics card. I see an add-on just here on the back. I'm seeing this clearly is not the GPU that came with it. This is not a USB card that came with it. Let's see what else that's in here that didn't come with it. So you've been busy.
A little. I always cringe when I have to open it up, but.
Oops. I better put this somewhere else. Let's put it over here. And, first things first, we've got an EVGA graphics card with the packing material still on it. So let's
You mean you're not supposed to put that in there with that on?
No.
Oh.
Oops, it's getting away.
Making a break for it.
Let's see. Oh, I bet you had to upgrade your. No, you're still on the original power supply.
Power supply,
and it can power a GeForce GTX 1060.
Yep, they had a 590 in it when I first got it.
Oh, it came with a. It's okay. Yeah, I guess in those days they did, didn't they? Wow, that power cable's in the way too. This is one of the things I don't like about the pre-builds is sometimes you got to take apart a couple of things to just take apart
to get something
just to get one thing out. Okay, can you do me a favor? Look at the screen. I'm going to give you a little hard time here.
Okay.
All right. I'm just giving you a hard time. Don't be offended. I want you to read what that says in red writing. If I can get it to.
Probably says you should remove this.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get it to focus.
Remove.
Here, maybe if you just.
What
does it say?
Remove protective film before use.
So you want to just do that for me?
Yeah, I want
my
to
OCD is kind of going a little crazy. Ah, look, it's like a brand new card under that.
Hey.
Well, I can imagine this is a brand new card, isn't it?
It was brand new 6 months ago.
Okay.
And now it's brand new again.
That's pretty good. I feel better. Thank you for that. I feel better about it.
So do I.
Don't we all feel better? I feel better. All right. Now I'm going to put it back in there. Let's see. We got to go this way. No.
I can't possibly. The other way.
Can't possibly
you
go
got to go around the cable and back in.
It doesn't go with the fans facing up, does it? Fans have to go down. Look, fans can't go down.
Yeah, the fans are up.
That's
I know.
Upside down. Why'd you bring this to me again? I forgot. Oh, we're upgrading the hard drive. I just had to take care of this first because it's driving me crazy. Yeah, that can cause heat issues. Sometimes the card can get hot and that plastic can start to get a little melty. And then it can put off an odor. So it's important that we have that removed. So normally you want the graphics card on the topmost slot, but this motherboard's flipped upside down, so you want it on the slot closest to the CPU is your fastest slot. Come on now. It is. There's your USB card right there. I'm gonna leave that out for right now. It is, everything's very narrow. Everything's got to be a really tight, snug fit in here. Is that it? I think it is. I think we're okay. And then I can put that in. And that consumes every slot you've got. That's it. You are as upgraded as you can be with this thing.
I ain't gonna stick anything more in it.
Yeah, just another reason why I don't like these pre-built. It's very limited what you can do. And then the only way you can hold these cards in position is to put this little bracket back in, which I think sucks. Because everything can move and shift until you put that one little screw in that locks it all down, which is crazy to me. I've actually had a few cases like that in the past that were not pre-built, but just case designs of just generally cheap cases. You know, now they're using one screw instead of, God forbid, 4. One for each thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you just have one. They save 3 screws that way, so totally worth it. See, this graphics card is a little bit low. Still didn't feel like it went in it. I didn't feel or hear a click or anything, so I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna hook motherboard power back up, and this is your USB card, which needs to have power from somewhere. How are you powering that?
It was off of one of these strips up here.
Oh, it's up there. That would explain why it just popped out. Okay. Okay, very good. And we're going to take this hard drive out since we're going to do a clone. This hard drive works, nothing's wrong with it. It's just, why are we replacing it?
It's it feels slow.
It feels slow.
And it's 8 years old, so it might need to
8 years
be
old.
replaced before it does fail.
Okay. Yes, that's a good idea. I'm with you. This is a Hitachi from April of 2010. SATA 3, so it's only, well, SATA 3
7
gigabits.
years old. It's
SATA 3 gigabits is SATA 2, and so your controller is only SATA 2 probably. But that makes sense for 2010. What size drive was this?
a terabyte.
And what are we replacing it with?
With a terabyte.
Just a terabyte, not an SSD.
No.
Did that
That'd be my
heat
next
sink-
build.
Did the heat sink come with the CPU? I mean, with the computer? Mm-hmm. Wow, they put a nice heat sink on there.
Yep. It's a dual quad. So it's got 8 processors.
Oh, okay.
It's a beast.
4 cores and 4 threads, right? Mm-hmm. And then what do we have? We've got a, what is it? Western Digital, 1 terabyte, 72. Oh, it's Western Digital Black. It's a fast one. Okay. Here's what we're putting in.
Should we say where we got it, or just?
What's that?
Should we say where we got it at?
The hard drive?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter. People can get it wherever they want it. They can buy it at their local retailer, Micro Center, Fry's Electronics. They can buy it off Amazon, Newegg. It's all the same product. So these drives are very inexpensive now. What are these?
That one was about $50.
So $50 for the high performance. I was going to say you can buy these for
mechanical,
$35.
it's not SSD.
Yeah, you can buy a mechanical 1 terabyte drive for about $35. But this is the high performance black edition, so it's would you say 50 bucks?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more money, but you do, as you said earlier, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
How many more years do you think you're going to get out of this?
Hopefully 8 more. But I won't be gaming on it. I'll be like running some other stuff.
All right.
Maybe a server.
You're very optimistic. All right. I'll put that just right over there for you.
Okay.
This can
We'll
go.
probably put the old one in there.
I don't know why they wouldn't let me be a doctor. I don't need that kidney.
Throwing parts out like that. Keeps it fresh.
Silica gel. It says do not eat.
I wouldn't eat it.
But nothing else says do not eat, so you can eat everything else, just not this. Whatever you do,
don't eat that.
but everything else
everything
is fine,
else in there is
'cause
fair game.
nothing else says do not eat but this. This is actually inert, it won't hurt you, but it's a choking hazard. And that's why they don't want you to eat it. There's nothing dangerous in it. It's not gonna kill you.
I still
unless
wouldn't
you
want to
choke
eat
on
it. Or sprinkle it on anything.
It's just a little dry and needs salt, that's all. Sort of like my personality. All right, salty. Oh, this must be triple channel because you've got 2, 4, 6 sockets in here for RAM. A Pegatron motherboard. Pegatron.
Gigs of RAM in it.
Which one of the Transformers was Pegatron?
I don't know. I wasn't that interested in
It's a bad joke. Like most of them. All right, let's see. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I need power, and I need a SATA cable. I could just steal it off of your DVD drive. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to just temporarily disconnect the DVD.
Do we know what channel the main one's on?
Oh, it won't matter because
that's
this
right.
is completely empty.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
software
Yeah, Acronis is smart enough to know you must want to copy the drive with the data to the drive that has no data. When you're cloning to a used drive, it gets you got to be a little slower, a little more careful in your selection, or you wipe out the wrong drive, and there's no going backwards.
And that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, as long as you have a backup before you start, you'll have a little safety net. But I'm just sort of looking right now for what is going on with this.
And I did check to make sure my data backup last night did work.
How do you check to see that it worked?
Well, the log says it worked.
You trust technology far
Too
more than
much,
I do. Far more than I do. Let's do this. I've got a few things in here. I was sort of prepared for this because I've run into this a number of times before. I've got a power splitter and I've got a SATA cable, and we're gonna just grab this power cable right here that's going to your USB, and I'm gonna plug it in to the splitter, and then we'll go. Apparently. I think a package is being delivered. This only happens when I'm working. That's my security system going on. There we go. And then I will plug this in here. And this can go. Oh, the graphics card's in the way. I can't see. There is a plug up here by the DVD drive. Maybe we can just use that one. It's very cramped in here. This is one of the things I don't like about pre-builts is.
And HP.
Well, I don't like HP for a different reason, but generally all the pre-builts have the same sort of tight-fitting. They do everything they can to cut costs. It doesn't make upgrading it very easy. All right, you stay. Yeah, Amazon delivery. Now, where was I? Trying to plug
Trying
this.
to find the plug to put that into.
I think this is a SATA port right up in here. So it's been a good computer for you, has it?
Yes, it has. It has really served me well.
That's good to hear. So not all HPs are bad. Just the ones that come to me for
The only
repair.
thing I had an issue with was it didn't like Avast for some reason.
Oh, well, that's not uncommon. A lot of
It decided
computers,
to blue screen whenever.
a lot of computers have issues with some of the free antivirus. I had thrown Kaspersky in an older computer and it just brought it to its knees. It just, hard drive was cranking, you'd open it, you know, Google Chrome, and it would just crank and crank and crank and crank and crank. And I said, you know what? You know, it's free software, it's eating all my resources. And again, an older computer where you don't want to spend any money on stuff.
So I took off Avast and put AVG back on.
Yeah.
So that's what I run now.
Well, they're all owned by Avast now anyway. All right, Acronis. I've got my Acronis rescue disk. I've got a number of videos out, one that even shows you how to make an Acronis rescue disk if you buy the software. You have to buy the software, it's not free.
I think on the drive it was talking about Acronis also.
Well,
On the box.
sometimes drives will include a copy of Acronis that only works if you have that drive, like the software checks. That usually occurs with SSDs, not necessarily with, I don't see any software here.
No, it was instructions of where to download it.
Really?
On the side,
On the box?
on the side of the box, yeah.
Install, download free cloning software. Well, it doesn't say that it's Acronis. Come on, autofocus. This thing does not want to focus for me.
Yeah, macro lens.
It's blurry. Whatever. We're going to use mine anyway. So,
Yep.
let's see. I've got the Acronis disk plugged in.
I don't know if we're set up to boot off the USB.
We normally, I never expect a computer to be set up to boot off USB, so I will have to get into the BIOS here or the boot options. We'll see what the options are. Usually F2 is what I want. Oh, I probably have to plug the monitor into the back of it, right?
Yeah, it might help. Yeah.
Yeah, let's probably do that. HDMI, thank you. We'll go right there. I'll probably get video that time. Oh, it's booting into Windows. All right, that's fine. Well, at least we know your hard drive works. It boots into Windows. Let me just shut it down. Keyboard and mouse are working, which is good. Come on. Shut down. Shut down anyway. And I'm standing in front of the screen intentionally, guys. I will be moving here in just a second. Wow, this takes a while to load. It doesn't want to shut down until it's fully loaded.
Yeah.
Finally,
There you go.
finally, it's going to shut down. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Power's still running, so I'll wait for that to shut off and we'll start one more time. My Western Digital Portable came with Acronis on my box, and there is a free version for Western Digital. That's from Alexander in the chat. Thank you for that, Alexander. I won't use it, but I'll use my copy because I can rely on it. Okay, and let's try this again. They're suggesting F10 to get into the BIOS. Let's give that a shot. Now they got me all paranoid. They said my haircut's bad. Oh, F12 was the boot menu. That's what I want. I want F12. So we're going to turn it back on. We're going to go F12. Just keep repeatedly hitting that key over and over and over. Finally. Well, what does it say? Booting from LAN. I don't want it booting from LAN.
I think it keeps trying to. Well,
shouldn't.
It saw both drives.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have. It should have. All right, never mind. We're just going to go into BIOS. Escape is boot menu. I see. It's escape. F12 was boot from LAN, so it did well.
There we are.
Doesn't matter. Boot device priority, and we're just going to disable everything. Oh, this isn't going to let me disable it, is it? Let's go not install, whoops. CD-ROM group, that's fine. Hard drive group. Hitachi, Western Digital, USB. We use the plus key on the keyboard to move USB up to the top. Hit escape. Network boot priority, I would like that completely disabled. But I don't see why or how I can disable it. Usually the X key used to disable. I don't see the option. I don't see any option to disable network or floppy. Floppy group says not installed, and yet it still shows up as an option. That makes sense. You think it'd be intelligent enough to not put that up there. Oh, I see. It's just going to keep doing the same thing. Well, that's a bummer. Disabled. There we go. Floppy group not installed, but the option to disable is not there. And even though I've disabled network group priority, it still offers network boot group. All right, thank you HP for making that so sloppy. See, I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna find something I don't like about HP. It's just now, it's just the way I'm gonna be. And the boot agent's still loaded.
It still tries to boot off the network.
Well, I mean, it still loaded the boot agent.
No, it's going to Acronis.
All right, and we'll choose True Image. No, I'm not using the latest True Image, which just came out last week, which is True Image 2019. I'm not familiar with it yet. I think it's mostly the same, but I haven't had time to delve into it, so I'm going to stick with what I know. Yeah. I know this is going to work.
Wait for the bugs to fall out of the new one.
Don't worry about that. It's usually you want the new one if you've got the latest and greatest hardware to see the latest controller drivers and things like that. Because we're working on an older system, an older version of Acronis is fine. Okay, so there we go. They said my hair is perfectly straight in the back. It's my ears that are uneven.
Ah.
I'll have to have my barber.
You have to have that fixed.
I'll have to have my barber take care of that. Gosh darn it. Don't mess with my vanity, people. I'll be playing with this all day. All right, so here's what we do. We're going to go over here to Tools. You know what? Let's see if we can zoom in so folks can see what I'm doing. They don't need to see us. Let's go right down here like that.
They can see the screen and know what to click on.
So let's go to Tools and Utilities, right up here. Let's go to Clone Disk. This is what you were afraid to do. You watching?
I know, but you know.
Click Next. It's gonna take a minute and it's gonna take a look at what the drives, the source mode, see right here. Since it's gonna give us some options for source disk. So it's looking for potential source disks. Be patient, it will eventually come up here with all of our drives, including probably the bootable flash drive.
Probably. Well, me, I'd try to format the flash drive.
It wouldn't let you. It wouldn't let you. This is Windows 10?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Windows 10.
Yeah.
Came with 7. Upgrade to 10 near the last part of the offer to move up.
Oh, it's still there. They don't promote it, but you can always use a Windows 7 or 8 product key. With few exceptions, you can mostly, I should say, use a Windows 7 or 8.1 product key, and it will activate Windows 10. And then once Windows 10's been activated, you never have to use a product key on that hardware ever again. You just install it without a product key, and when you connect it to the network, Windows recognizes the unique hardware hash of your combined hardware and says, oh, I've activated this already, and just automatically activates it. So that whole worrying about digging out product keys with software
that was
stuff.
a nightmare. I
Yes.
remember those days.
Yeah. So the only
What's
time
my
you'd have to do
key?
that is if you significantly changed a lot of hardware. You know, if you were trying to move the operating system to another computer, that's a violation of Microsoft's terms of service, unless, let's say your motherboard died and you got a replacement board, then Microsoft may not activate you, but when you call them and you say, oh, my board failed, this is not a new computer, it's the same computer that's just got a new board, they'll reactivate, but you have to talk to them. So
And we all love talking to Microsoft.
it's mostly a machine. I want to make a machine that talks to their machine.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll have my machine call your machine. We'll set something up.
And then when they get a live person on the line, I'll ask them if they can hold, and their call's very important to me. All right, so you see disk 1 is shaded out.
So we can't mess that up.
Y
Good.
is select, oh.
That's the Hadachi.
So it apparently already selected the source. I didn't pick it. I don't know why. I've never seen it do that. Now you'll see disk 2. You see the file, the size is the same size. One's made by Hitachi, one's made by Western Digital. We know Western Digital's the new one. And the third option here is a 1.8 gigabyte USB disk.
Let's pick that one.
Yeah, I think shoving 931 gigs onto a 1.8 gig drive is sort of like, as the expression goes, putting 10 pounds of crap into a 5-pound bag.
Yep.
So we're going to select disk 2, which seems pretty obvious. And it shows there's nothing on this drive. This whole area right here is blank.
No partitions, no nothing.
Yeah, so we'll hit next. And it says, here's what it's going to look like when we're done. Here's what it looks like now. And when we're done, you're going to have this partition, this partition, this partition, and that partition.
Those are the hidden ones that HP put on.
Yeah, so we're going to get all of that. Factory image is 11 gigs. Anyway, we'll hit proceed. And that's it. Now we just wait. And that's how difficult it is to clone your hard drive. When this process is done, we shut everything down. We'll take your old hard drive out. Or do you want to keep it in there for a
No, we'll
slave?
take it out.
We'll take it out. That'll be your backup.
Yep.
We'll put
Take it
this
home.
drive where that one is, put it all back together, remove the extra data cable and power cable that I temporarily put on there, and then button it back up and you're on your way. It says it'll take 16 minutes. Do you believe
Oh.
that?
No.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. We don't need
That's
to see
in a
that.
perfect world, it takes 16 minutes.
We don't need to see that close anymore. Since I've shown all the detail, we can go back to and about there, I think looks good, right? Yes. Don't you love when storage drives lie to you about how much capacity is 1 terabyte? Well, the truth is they're not lying to you.
They're not.
When a hard drive manufacturer makes a hard drive, they calculate a 1,000 kilobytes. 1,000 times 1,000 would be a million, right?
Right.
But Microsoft and other software developers, they calculate 1,000 as 1,024. Like when you go and buy RAM, RAM is always at 1,024, right? You always have like 16,384 gigabytes would be 16 gigs of RAM. That's more than 16, but they call it 16 gigs even though you're getting more. So when a hard drive manufacturer, when they make a hard drive, they're literally calculating 1,000 bytes, not 1,024 as a K. We often use that expression, how much did your house cost? It cost 150K. We don't take that K and go, oh, it was 1,024 times 150, because that would be a lot more money.
Yep.
So there's a discrepancy between how the operating system reports the size of the hard drive, but you're not losing any space. It's not like you've lost some space to formatting. A lot of people think, oh, it's a terabyte drive, but after it's formatted, it's 968 gigs. No, it's always 968 gigs. You didn't lose anything. Microsoft is dividing literally 1 gigabyte by 1024, and the hard drive manufacturer is dividing 1 gigabyte by 1000.
Or you might not notice that there are hidden partitions on
Well, I'm
there.
saying on a new one, on a brand new hard drive, just one partition formatted, it will result in the exact amount of space reported on the hard drive. It's just the way the hard drive manufacturers calculate and the way Microsoft calculates are completely different. And the best example is just buy some RAM and watch how RAM is reported versus how hard drives. So the question is, who's in the wrong? Is it that Microsoft should change to report the hard drives the same as the hard drive manufacturers? By the way, this is what Apple did too, and Apple changed. Apple said, okay, hard drive manufacturers, we're going to change. And we're not going to do this 1024 anymore. So should Microsoft do what Apple did, or should the hard drive manufacturers do what Microsoft is doing? In the meantime, don't be fooled. It's the same exact thing being reported 2 different ways. Are we clear? We're clear. All right. There's no conspiracy. You can look up something called gigabytes, G-I-B-I-B-Y-T-E-S, gigabytes. That's what Microsoft calls their reporting of the hard drive, which is not confusing and doesn't sound anything like gigabytes. So yes, it's gigabytes versus gigabytes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, now it's got 15 minutes left. I think
It only took 3 minutes to get through that first minute.
Yeah.
I'll be ready in 5 minutes. I better go watch some TV. You can save that. There's your documentation and your warranty. You want that?
Not really.
Well, we could throw that away.
You want to give it to the dogs or anything?
Yeah. They don't like that. I've tried. They sniff it and they walk away. It's maybe if I put some chocolate chips in it. Not supposed to give chocolate to the dogs.
Not supposed to give chocolate to dogs.
Welcome to everybody who is just tuning in. We've got 580 people watching. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to this Saturday, August 25th, 2018. And joining me, a gentleman I've just met for the first time today. He's been watching my videos. He said, hey, I live in town. Would you help me out? And I said, absolutely. Come on over. And he did. And so I just bring complete strangers, complete crazy people on the internet, invite them into my house. That's the crazy kind of guy I am. His name is Rich. Rich is a fantastic guy. I could tell from talking to you on the phone. I had nothing to worry about. And if anything happens, it's not an act. It's really happening. No.
They'll never find the body.
Yeah, but I'm quick. You got to catch me first. That's all I'm saying. I may not be very strong, but I'm fast. Tom says hello from Holland. I see Colin Hilton has joined us from England, Superman G and Troll McTrollington, all of our moderators that keep, well, some of the moderators I'm seeing right now that help keep everything civil in the chat. And I appreciate that, guys, so much. Jakey Pierce. Who else? DBs. I got to get my mouse so I can say hello to some people here. We have Stephen Barber, Renee Major, Mike Erickson. Mike says, no Coca-Cola today? Well, it's only 11 in the morning here in Phoenix, and it's a little early for a Coke, maybe a little bit. Catherine Anna Hauserman joins us from Colombia. Douglas Biggers, Keith W. Thank you guys for being such great moderators. Mike says, my neck is starting to get sore from looking up at you. No, I look up at everybody. That's just another day. Yeah. That illusion doesn't work if we didn't start it out that way.
Oh, I was want to do this.
We'll just keep you further away. Don't go down in the cellar. It's haunted. Let's see, Slow Death 007 joins us. He's explaining 1,000 gigabytes equals 1 terabyte, but 1,024 GIB, that's gigabytes. I'm sorry, gigabyte, that's that expression. GIB, that is correct, I forgot. Equals 1 TIB. Well, then I don't know what that means. Anyway, Wikipedia, use it. Alhaz Tepej. I'm sorry, I probably am pronouncing that name horribly wrong, but welcome in, of course. Sujut Barai. Can I purchase parts from Newegg in India? I've never been to India. I don't know. I have no idea what is available to you. You'll have to ask somebody in India who can answer that. If you have any questions about what you can do in Arizona, I can answer that, because that's where I've been and where I am and what I do. Never been to India. I was invited to go to India by a scammer. He said he would show me around.
I saw that video. He wanted you to...
He was gonna show me around, take me to Taj Mahal, take me to the Star of India.
Did you keep his number?
Make me curry. I did, but it doesn't go through anymore. So I don't know why. It doesn't happen just from people from India. It happens a lot in bars. No, never. I'm a married man, I can't say that. I can do it, but I can't say that. No, I can't. No, I'm kidding. Never mind. Let's just change the subject. Francie McCool says, I've got a 1 terabyte drive, 4 years old, from HGST, that's Hitachi, and it's still working great today. Hitachi makes really good drives, but as long as you've got backups, who cares? You know, let it run or let it fail. As long as you've got backups, it's just an inconvenience. But if you don't have backups and you're just counting on these drives to run, regardless of age, could be brand new, doesn't mean it's not going to fail. I always love that when customers say to me, how could it be bad? I just bought it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you never bought a light bulb and plugged it in
and it goes pop?
Pops right away. But the bulb that was in there, you can't even remember the last time you changed it before it burned out. It just happens, you know? It's just, people sometimes they're like, but it's new. Yeah, well, sometimes new doesn't mean it works. You know, we've got 591 people. Here's the thing that gets me about this. You see, we've got 591 people.
Yeah, I see that. That's great.
And yet there's only 20 people chatting in the chat room. Come on, guys. If you're watching the video, let us know that you're watching by telling us where you're watching from. We're just sitting here. We got 13 minutes left. That's a long 3 minutes that have passed. So while we're waiting, jump in, participate, please. This is a lot more fun if you participate. Otherwise, you might as well watch TV. But this is interactive. You get to talk to us, and we get to talk back, and you get to, you know, upset me. No, don't do that. You can't do that to the guy on TV. So come on, tell us where you're from. Dave Murray has joined us. Oh, Brytech. What do you know? Brytech's joined us. David Santiago says hello. See, now look what I've caused.
Yes.
I can't read it.
It's a storm now.
Robert Radak is from Serbia. Dave Murray's from Bonnie, Scotland. Jesse Kirk says he's watching from Crestview, Florida. Travis K is from Minnesota. Mike Rooney from Liverpool. Every time I hear Liverpool, me and John are going to get in the band back together. I don't know, something like that. Ace Artist by Oklahoma. Carl Terranella is joining us from Vero Beach, Florida. Koza is joining us from Slovenia. Hale from Massachusetts. Willie, is it hailing there? Hardy, 1995, is from Poland. The hail thing was a joke. Mihai is from Romania. We've got Vincent from hold on. I don't even know. It's in Belgium. He's in Belgium. Coop Wii U is in Tennessee. Photo Mix Media is in California. William Lin is in California. Noying COC says hello from Nagaland, India. I never even heard of Nagaland. Chris Reb says he's watching from Northwest Georgia, and Roroni Kenshin is from Peru. That's awesome. Danny Koyman is in the Netherlands. Platter Jockey's in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Do they even have internet there? I thought, do they even have color TV?
Yeah, they have one little line going out there. That's it.
Y'all share.
Probably DSL.
So that we just poke a little fun. I wish I was in Sierra Vista. I bet it's a lot more peaceful and quiet. Huge Ackman is from Wigan, England. Josh Kinder is from Pittsburgh. Abdul Azim Patel is in California. CM 102706 is from Kentucky. Cookie Gaming says hello from the UK. And Colin Hilton joins us from Lancashire. Gameflux is watching from Romania. Awesome, welcome. Black Dog is from Colorado. Kuntal Pal is from India. Shaman Kish is from Serbia. Wow, a lot of Serbians watching. Welcome, you guys. Not going to work here anymore. Travis, that's an Office Space reference for those of us nerdy enough to follow Travis K. You know what, Travis K., you just earned yourself moderator status on that little reference. Bud E. Weiser, 1968. That's the year I was born, 1968. Is joining us from Ottawa, Canada.
I mean, I'm older than you are.
I'm glad somebody is. Mishwa Ludak says, I'm watching from Namibia, Africa. Say hello to Angelina Jolie for me. See, I thought I was funny. I guess not. That's pretty cool, though.
Don't quit your day job.
Yeah. Arnold, here's one I'm jealous of. Arnold Heijenkamp is from The Hague in the Netherlands. How cool is that? Arnold H. Donnie Seeger says hello from Claremont, Florida. Kevin B. is from Iowa. Country Boy is from Mississippi. How would we ever learn to count without Mississippi? One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi. Right?
I wouldn't.
Gary from the UK. Torsten watching from Germany. Gregory from Russia. Where's my Australian peeps? Where's my Kiwis? Where's my New Zealanders? Hi from Bosnia. That's from Paparazzo 80. GL Thunder says hello from Northern Michigan. Oh, to be in Northern Michigan right now. You're my new best friend.
What's the temperature in Northern Michigan?
It's cooler than it is here.
That's got to be the truth.
It's a little humid and mosquito-y, a little ticky if you want a little Lyme disease, but totally worth it. Green trees, dead raccoons and dead deer off to the side of the road.
Good fishing.
Oh, lots of fishing. Lots of fishing. Stephen Barber says, I'm from your hometown, Detroit. That's awesome. I'm sitting in your backyard drinking a beer. Well, I'm sure the dogs would let me know if you were. Sujit Barai says, hello from Balimala, India. India's such a big place. Here we go. Digital Daryl says, hello from Australia. I knew I had some Aussies down under watching. Milan says, hello from Belgium. It'd be interesting if Milan was from Milan. Maybe we got a guy named Belgium joining us from Milan. Wouldn't that be something? Brytek says he's from the dark side of the moon, so apparently listening to a little too much Pink Floyd, yeah. Brytek.
Good album, though.
Good evening from Wales. So that's Simon. You ever heard somebody with a Welsh accent speak?
No, can't say that I have.
It is... somebody with a Welsh accent could read the ingredients of a food package, and I would just listen to them talk all day long. It's just something about that accent. They say everybody from Wales can sing. They all have these voices. You know, Tom Jones he's Welsh. So there you go. There's your one simple example.
One thing.
I can't think of another one, but they can all sing. X-Hit says hello from New Jersey. Freedom Flights has contributed $1.99. It says, have you ever watched a SpaceX launch? I have a video when SpaceX launched. I could see it from my house. So if you just type in Kerry Holzman SpaceX in the YouTube search, you'll find it. And I thought World War III was starting. It was so cool. And Arnold there in the Hague says he's got a lot of rain over here. You ever heard of that? You ever heard of rain? I've heard of that.
Yeah, we had some like earlier this week.
I must have slept through it.
It was only at night.
Hello from Flint, Michigan. Don't drink the water, but hello. Come on, Kerry, give us a Welsh accent. Let me think, could I do a Welsh accent? So there used to be a show called Little Britain, and Little Britain, Matt Lucas played an exuberant gay man, and he wasn't really gay, but he liked the attention that he got. So he would say, in his Welsh accent, I am the only gay in the village. See, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he just did that because he got, special treatment, right? And he would dress up in like tight leather latex, butt cheeks hanging out. And then when
there's
somebody,
a picture for you.
And then when somebody else that was actually gay came to town, he got really offended because he's the only gay in the village. And they said, you two should go out together. No, it's not my type. It was just hilarious. Little Britain, if you've never seen Little Britain, if you like Monty Python, you will like Little Britain.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Great show, great show. Radian Roberts is the best Welsh singer. Never heard of her. Torque Alpha joins us from Sweden. Awesome. Mike Rooney joins us from London. Michael Rubos is in Holland. Michael C. is in Newcastle. Nice. I like your beer there. And not only do we have folks watching us from Manchester, UK, we've got folks watching us from Manchester, New Jersey.
Hey, they got to get together.
My wife is from Llandudno Brifi. That's the city that I'm the only gay in the village, and I can't even say it. It's embarrassing for me to try. Yeah, Catherine Anner Hauserman, who is disabled, there's a skit where the guy pretends he's his friend, he's in a wheelchair and his friend pushes him around. It's the same two guys, right? They just different characters and different skits. And anytime the guy, he's always doting on him and taking care of his friend in the wheelchair. And the friend in the wheelchair is very uncooperative and a simple person. And then when the friend turns his back, he's, oh, you want an ice cream? I'll get you an ice cream. I'll be right back. And then he sees his friend's going, he gets out of the wheelchair, he goes up to the diving board of the pool, does a somersault into the pool, gets out, gets back in the wheelchair, and the friend comes back with the ice cream, completely unaware that anything's happened. Yeah.
None the wiser.
Arnold wants to know any news from A-Data. No, I have not heard from A-Data, but that's not stopping me from recommending their product. I think it's a really good buy, and that's another one. Matt Chettenham, there's another skit that they do where the person just acts as an uncooperative customer service person. Right? Oh. So you're like...
that's almost close to real life sometimes.
Oh, they just exaggerate it to a point where the person walks into the hospital and says, hi, my daughter has an appointment today. Name, Smith. First name, Margaret. Computer says no. What do you mean the computer says no? I have an appointment. Computer says no. And then the person will be like, but I have an appointment. And she'll just look at him and right into their face. Just the rudest.
That's that English humor.
Computer says no. Oh, when I started to get her to watch Little Britain, she's like, I don't think this is funny. I go, no, you stay with it. You're just not getting it yet. It's British.
It grows
and then
on you.
Suddenly it clicked. And then she went, this is the best show I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, so if you're American and you're not accustomed to British humor, you really have to sort of understand it. You can't just jump. Many of us won't just get it right away. But as you continue to watch it, you'll see the theme, and then you'll be like, oh, I get it now. This is funny. Yeah. And there's one that...
You ever seen the IT Crowd?
Oh, of course. Every episode, numerous times.
That was great.
The bomb sniffing one was the best. I bet you can't go all day. I bet you can't go 24 hours without saying, have you tried turning it off and on again? It's like, fine, you're on. And then they stumble upon this bomb sniffing robot and they're like, where did everybody go? And what's this package here? And they look and there's a whole crowd of people behind tape. What are you guys doing over there? And he's like, we're having some problems controlling the robot. You guys don't move. And he's like, well, I work in tech support. Maybe I can help you. What operating system are you running? It's Windows Vista. Oh, we're all going to die. And then he's like, I can't get any response. You guys don't move. You're too close to the bomb. Don't move. And he's like, I know what I have to say, but I don't want to say it because his boss is back there that he made the bet with. She's in the safety plate. And he goes, have you tried turning it off and on again? What? Have you tried turning it off and on again? I can't hear you. Have you tried turning it off and on again? And then the boss is like, yes, I won the bet. That's a great show. Great show. Oh. Carrie, have you thought about being a comedian? I did go on stage at the Improv a long time ago, once.
And they never asked you back?
I didn't ever want to, I ran with my tail between my legs. All my jokes fell flat, nobody laughed, and I was humiliated. But when I did it, when I pre-recorded it and sent it to the radio station, they loved it. But live, it's harsh, because you don't know what audience you've got at that moment.
It could have been your height.
But to be a really survivor, it could have been a what?
Your height.
They didn't see me.
You weren't quite tall enough.
I was on the stage. That's pretty short. The best comedians thrive from that negativity. They don't, you know, where my feelings are getting hurt, guys like Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman to go, oh, you're going to give me a hard time? Then I'm going to be the worst comedian you've ever seen if that's what we're going to do. You know, Jim Carrey literally said, when he had an audience that just was being, you know, not laughing, then he decided, I'm going to be the worst comedian you ever saw. Here I was trying to make you laugh, and you're not going to laugh, so now I'll give you a reason not to laugh. And see, to me, when you're on stage, you're on stage for the people. But for the real tough comedians, guys like Sam Kinison and George Carlin and Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman, they're up there for themselves. And if the audience laughs, great. And if the audience gets upset, let's see how much I can provoke them. They're just humoring themselves now. I'm not that way. I'm not wired that way. So you have to have a very thick skin to get up there, and you're basically asking a bunch of people to like you. Will you like me? Will you laugh?
Holding your hat.
Like me? And it's a very vulnerable position to be in. So yeah, no stand-up comedy for me.
None in your
ever
future.
Again. No,
Stick with computers.
I'm too. It matters to me too much if people don't laugh at my jokes. I've often done that. I'll be with one person. You know, sometimes jokes that work in a room full of people don't work one-on-one.
Sure.
So I'll be driving with my wife, and I'll say something really funny, and she'll just look at me, and I'm like, you know, if this was a TV show right now, the audience would be laughing their butt off. That was funny.
I don't care what you say. That's
I don't
funny.
care what you say. That was funny, and you know it was funny. And I was wasted on you. But I can only do that to one person. I couldn't say that to a crowd.
We're a little over halfway now.
We're getting there.
I said that drive was slow. That whole 16 minutes.
Has it been 16 minutes yet? It says there's 14 minutes left. How did the number go up? We were at 13. Acronis is really bad at estimating the time. I do not know why, but it's done when it's done, regardless of the progress meter accuracy. Ron Stewart says, greetings from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. PC Geek Apple Hater says, Carrie, I think you're funny. The problem is he thinks I'm funny when I'm being serious. See, that's the other problem. I kid. Kevin B says, I like your channel. I watch it whenever I can. I also subscribe to Brytech09. You would think Brytech was paying me the most I promote his channel. But the reason I promote his channel a lot is he is a real working computer tech. He's not just a tech enthusiast.
He doesn't work out of his
and a lot of people work out of their kitchen. I'm seeing the whole kitchen thing duplicated, and I think they're copying me.
They probably are. Maybe there's a lawsuit in the future.
I'll consider all imitation flattery. I'll take it. But anyway, what was I talking about?
I don't know. Maybe we should roll back and find out. About being a comedian.
No, I was talking about something else. Oh, I was talking about Brytech. So Brytech is a real working computer technician. But what a lot of people don't know, and I've explained this before, Brytech is sort of the opposite of a puppet. You know how puppets are controlled by hands?
Yes.
Brian is just a pair of hands. Because if you watch his videos, that's all you're going to see. It's just a pair of hands and a product review. Like the camera's right here.
His hands are worth money.
I would think, well, maybe he's a hand model.
Maybe.
And he's British, and he's got that British accent, so he's fun to listen to. He starts off every broadcast by saying, what you guys? I said, Brian, what are you saying? It sounds like you're saying, whatcha. He goes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, what you what? What you doing? Because it's what you're doing. It's a wow. Sure. He, in their culture, where he lives, they don't have to finish the sentence. You don't have to say what you doing. By just saying what you know where I'm going with that. I don't need to finish it. So what you guys? So I'm like, all right. So I am hearing you correctly.
In their culture,
but we don't talk like that. We don't speak like that. We don't say, hi, how are? You didn't finish. How are you? How are things?
Yeah. So in the Spanish language, it's like that. They have assumed stuff that they say.
Oh, we'll see.
You assumed why and you and all the
I wouldn't know that.
Are assumed because of the verb.
And well, the British, last I checked, spoke English.
Yes. So I can imagine that they have something like that.
And it's just in this particular region that they speak like that. But what I like about it is I've never seen anybody else do it on YouTube. I hear a lot of, hey guys, how's it going? Like every video, this guy named Saab Kyle, he does great car reviews. He's been doing them for years. Every single video, hey guys, how's it going? How are you supposed to answer him? So anyway, so Brytech, what you guys? So that's out for Brian. What you, Brian? Yeah, I think I missed a contribution. $20 came in. Let's see who gave me $20. Diego Lou Samstown has given me $20. He says, are you going to have this recorded? Yes, it does take a couple of hours after the broadcast for YouTube to process it, but the minute that YouTube is done processing it and it becomes available in HD, it'll be available for you guys to watch indefinitely into the future. Brytech says his English is pretty bad. He makes up for it with his technical skills.
Well, good.
Yeah, you don't have to speak so good if you can talk computer effectively.
If you can talk geek, you can get by.
Yeah, well, I mean, he talks directly to the computer, effectively, optimally.
Wow.
Like, he does it through the keyboard, and he's very effective, and he shows you how to talk to the computer effectively for removing viruses or changing partitions, cloning drives. And his videos don't run on 3 hours like mine do. They're usually
but you're more personal.
Yeah, I'm more personal than you, Brian.
You're like the guy next door that you know.
You're like that strange.
You'd hang out with a beer, and talk about guy things.
I am that guy.
You are that guy.
You're right. Which is weird when my neighbors are all female, but we still talk about guy things.
That's a little strange.
Is it? Let's see. Anyway, so Brytech has a YouTube channel and lots and lots and lots of videos. He's been doing it a long time. He's very good at what he does. And I always suggest to people that, if you're looking for something different, but you're looking for a good, solid tech channel that offers real tech advice, not just from an enthusiast, but from a real working computer technician who takes things from a different approach than I do. Just as Mike Smith with Tech Vets, he takes things under a different approach than I do. And Mike Smith's approach is also different from Brian's approach. And you can take from all of us what you relate to, and that's wonderful. And Brian has a lot of different videos on a lot of different topics. Hey, in fact, Brytech, what is your latest video? Tell us what's going on over in your channel. You think he promotes my channel like this on his channel?
He better.
Nah, well, it won't change anything. I'll still keep it. That's just the kind of guy I am. Because you know what? It's good for Brian. It's good for my viewers to know this. You can follow this channel and get solid, real advice. I don't like when they're watching videos about changing a heat shield on a CPU. Some impractical thing no one would ever pay you to do in the real world. It's just like something a hobbyist
like
would
swapping
do.
out that bad metal.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Nobody's going to pay you for that. So if you want to be in the real world with real working computer technicians, you need to watch YouTube channels or know some real computer technicians who can teach you. And YouTube's a great way to get to sort of know working techs. And it's just a different approach because of accountability liabilities that go along with this kind of work. So anyway, Brytech is perfect at explaining how to do things in Windows. Yes, he is. Brytech says, I'm not making none until I get back off holiday. So, okay, so Brian's on vacation. Very good, Brian. This is how you spend your vacation away from tech, watching tech. You're
He's
sick.
probably on the beach with a little.
Yeah, but if you're on
tablet.
the beach watching YouTube videos, tech videos, you're sick, you're an addict, and you need help.
There's a 12-step program for that.
You know, when you're on holiday, I thought you were coming out to Phoenix. I got a spare room, Brian. I don't understand. Were you just leading me on and teasing me like everybody in my life? Did you not mean what you said? Thought you liked me. Conrad Sheeper says, hello, Gary. Hi, Conrad. Donnie Seeger says, I hang out with some of the best computer technicians. That sounds like something our president would say. Only the best. Never mind. We don't want to go there. Jose Jacob says, hello from India. Brytech says, I'm off tomorrow. Well, so am I. Come on over. We'll have a pint. Wawa Noobs has contributed $5. He says, I sit in a big HP laptop bay and help adults make Gmail passwords and help make Gmail accounts and reset passwords. It sounds like he works for the college. Do you work for the college? Too many shills on YouTube, Carrie. I shill for Brytech. Does that count? Carrie, what do you think of Driver Easy? Stay away from any driver software. Stay away.
Oh yeah, more viruses than that.
Yeah, not even viruses. Sometimes you get the wrong driver, and you may not even be able to boot the operating system to undo that. So, yeah, I would stay away. Go to your motherboard manufacturer and get your drivers direct from the manufacturer. Hello from Huntsville, Alabama. That's coming from William Burlingame. Will I do another scammer video if the scammers are brave enough to call? Brytech says, thanks for pimping my channel, Carrie. Is pimping the right word?
Return the favor. Pimp back.
Damn, that is an ugly shirt. Well, thank you for judging me. It's all right. You didn't have to remove that comment.
That's a stylish shirt here in Arizona.
Let me tell you something. If it's good enough for Charlie Sheen,
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're talking about my shirt,
all
not
like that
yours.
all the time. I have shirts like that at home too.
It's my trademark. My trademark is Charlie Sheen.
In a certain light, you look kind of like him.
I'm going to take that as a compliment because a lot of people say I look like John Lovitz, and that's not what I want to hear.
If you were like fatter in the face, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll remember that when I have dinner tonight. I'll just have the toast. Justin Miller says, hello. Hi, Justin. Patrick says, I thought you used Snappy Driver Installer. I do very carefully. I don't install like USB 3 drivers that Snappy Driver wants to install because it's caused a lot of random blue screen crashes. So again, whenever you're running these driver programs, you end up a lot of times with other driver programs with potentially unwanted programs being installed, not necessarily with your consent. And sometimes you get the wrong drivers. That's my biggest concern, is you're going to get a misdetected, improperly detected device, and they'll give you the wrong driver, and then your system will just crash, or sometimes it'll crash like once every couple of weeks. It's a very difficult thing to pin down. The safest thing to do is to get the official drivers from the motherboard manufacturer, or if you have an HP or a name brand, to get it from the manufacturer of the computer. Even if it's an older driver, it'll be safer. And Windows 10 does a lot of this for you automatically now.
Right, you can set Windows to go find
And
it on
Windows has got
the
us-
network, internet, and you go find it.
There's not the difference in drivers like there used to be. It used to make driver updates constantly, especially the old VIA chipset. They had all kinds of drivers that would improve
remember those.
performance. But these days, pretty much a newer driver doesn't do much. I'm not exactly sure what the new Realtek audio driver does for you performance-wise than the previous Realtek audio driver.
Well, some network drivers are funky too.
Yeah, and you can lose your network, you can lose your USB, you can have random crashes. I would not enter into driver updating lightly and just get it from the manufacturer, or let Windows 10 get it for you. And if you want it to work, leave it alone. You want that scab to heal, stop picking at it.
Or understand how to back it back out real quick.
Matthew Barnes has contributed £5. Thank you, Matthew. Which is the best NAS for home use? I like Synology. I really do like Synology. Carrie, what hard drive software do you use to figure out lifespan? You know, you can't figure out lifespan on a hard drive. Then I can figure out lifespan for you, or you can figure out lifespan for me. If you want to know your current hard drive health status, use Crystal Disk Info. Google that. And you can type the search into YouTube, and I have a video on that as well.
It's a real good one. I've seen it.
Oh, thank you. It's old, but it's still the same. The haircut is too close to John Lovitz's style. I can't help it if John Lovitz copies me. What am I supposed to do about that? Hello from Washington State. That's from Jimmy B. Carrie, do you still use 3DPNet to identify network card drivers? Again, Windows 10 mostly does all of this for me. It's been a long, long time. The last time I had to use that, it's a good free utility in Windows 7, because Windows 7 very rarely, in my experience, detects the network card. And just the opposite is true of Windows 10. It very rarely doesn't detect. But if that's the case, I'll tell you what I did, is I got myself one of these right here. So I will not use 3DPNet on a Windows 10 computer where a network card is not identified. I will plug in this TrendNet Wi-Fi, which Windows 10 does have drivers for, into a USB port, let it load, connect to my Wi-Fi, and then I will download the drivers I need from the manufacturer's site for the chipset, for the network card, for the sound card, for the video card. And once I've got the LAN driver installed, I unplug this and go set it down. And the reason I like that so much, and by the way, this is a TrendNet, this is a high-end, it's one of the fastest Wi-Fi cards you can buy, which wouldn't make sense to buy if you don't have a fast router.
How much does that run?
About $55. Yeah.
That's pretty cheap.
It's not bad. I've also got one from Asus, and I thought it maybe was broken. That's why I bought this one. And the Asus one's kind of cool because it has these two little ears like a rabbit, and they fold down like this. So instead of one big thing, it's got two little ones, and they open up and they pull up like that, and they're red. Very cool looking. But it seemed like the data transfer rate was really slow. And, and by the way, this is just a base. You can pull that out and just plug it right into the computer. You don't even have to have that open. You can close it. This just gives you a little better signal if you open it. And then by having this little base, plug that in, and then you can, just run the cable that way. So you don't have this thing jutting out the side of the computer where if you knock it, it's an easy way to break a USB port on the motherboard.
Yeah, like I broke the front one I have.
Did you?
Yeah, there's two ports there, and I broke the top one. So I
There's two ports where? Where are they?
Up here, a little black piece of tape. I broke
I didn't even notice that piece of
that's
tape
why I put
right
the
there.
black tape, it's hard to see.
Good job.
Because I had headphones on and forgot I had them on and tried to walk away from my computer and yanked
We've
it out.
all done that. Most of us would never admit it, but we've all done it.
But I've got several in the back and two in the front.
But getting back to that Wi-Fi, the Asus one is like $90. And the TP-Link one that I've got there is like $55. They're both AC, I want to say 1900, which is about the fastest Wi-Fi card you can buy today. So if you have an AC 1900 or higher router, you can connect it 1.9
Yeah, it's incredibly fast for Wi-Fi.
gigabits per second instead of 1 gigabit per second, which would be a wired connection. But there's a lot of overhead on Wi-Fi, and then there's sending rates and receiving rates. So it's almost equivalent to a wired connection, even though it looks like it's twice as fast as a wired. It's pretty darn close to the same now.
I know, it's amazing how fast Wi-Fi is getting these days.
And that's assuming you got a strong signal, obviously.
Yeah, you gotta be like 5 feet from the...
Well, no, actually my router's on the other side of the wall here, but yeah, you want 4 or 5 bars to get those kind of signals, speeds.
If you were halfway across the house, you probably wouldn't get that speed.
Let's see. Dave Rennie says hello from South Africa. Joburg? See, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Johannesburg? I've been to
Almost
Johannesburg.
like you've been there.
I've been everywhere virtually.
Virtually.
Yeah. I'm all over the world virtually. I've never left my house, but
Google Maps goes to a lot of places.
Oh, Google in general, yeah. Gary, could you comment a good set of headphones with mic for broadcasting? I couldn't, Daryl, because I don't use that. It's more of what a Twitch streamer would do. Probably would ask somebody who does that. They would give you better advice than I could. Carrie, what's the best VPN service? Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. But those of you in the chat, if you're using a VPN you like, please let Samuel in the chat know what you like. Alex wants to know if we can get a house tour, see everything you've got, show us the layout of the house, and let me know when you're usually gone so I can come over and rob you. No, I don't think a house tour is a good idea. Is that what your night job is? Shabbat Shalom from Israel. That's from Goriun. Do I have any 10 gigabit switch recommendations? I have no experience at all with 10 gigabit at all. It's expensive. The devices you're connecting it to are going to be your bottleneck. You know, your hard drive in your computer can't move data that quick. Not too many things can. A NAS isn't going to move data that quick. That's more in use for server farms and things, and having it in the home seems a little bit overkill. So, can I give you good advice on bowling shirts? Sure, I know all about that. Now you're in my wheelhouse. Go to globalrebels.com. Everybody seems to like this PIA, Private Internet Access VPN. Oh. I'm not sure I would call my company PIA. It sounds like it's a pain in the something. Doozy says, hello from Costa Rica. Colin Hilton says, I use OpenGate. It's free, and I've never had any problems. A lot of the free VPNs are overcrowded and very, very slow. Yeah, maybe 5 to 10 megabytes per second. Wawa Noob says, ExpressVPN is the new best one. Lots of security. If people want to see house tours, they should watch Property Wars. Well stated. They'll watch Property Wars and go, can you give me a setup tour of your PC? Maybe we should have a show called, you know, instead of like Pimp Your Crib, Pimp Your Computer Room. Yeah, no. You know? Yeah, no. There's a certain level of nerd I want to be, and that's not it. That's not it. I kind of feel, you know who you're reminding me of? And Tool Time with Tim Allen. Oh. What's the guy's name? The bearded helper. Not the neighbor with the fence, but the... I didn't watch Tool Time. What was his name? Was Al? I think his name was Al. Can't think of the actor's name. I'm feeling a little Tool Time vibe going on right now. And I think he wore plaid shirts like that. Yeah, he did. Yeah. See? Well, oh, you didn't watch it, he says. Oh, I watched it a couple times. Okay. I was not... Of course, isn't that new on Fox now? He's got his own show? Yes, yeah. Last Man Standing. Last Man Standing, yeah. Carrie, Sierra Vista is more advanced than you think. I was just teasing you. I wasn't being serious. It's called a sense of humor. Google that. Check it out. Al Borland. Lance Ripplinger got it. Al Borland. Well, at least I got the Al part right. Yeah. But what's the actor's name who plays Al Borland? Richard Carnes. That's it. Exactly. He hosted Family Feud for like 2 weeks. Yeah. What hardware is in this HP? You know what? I didn't even ask you that, did I? We didn't check or anything. Here, I'll tell you. This. Let me get my reading glasses out, and we'll read the approachable stickers here on the side. This is an Intel Core i7-930 processor with 8 gigs of DDR3 memory, a terabyte hard drive, a Blu-ray player, and Super Multi DVD burner with LightScribe technology. It came with an ATI Radeon HD 5770, which obviously you've taken out. Graphics card. It had 1 gig of DDR5 dedicated graphics memory. So it wasn't stealing from your RAM, it was its own discrete graphics card. It has wireless built in, it's 802.11b, G, or N, and it came with Windows 7 Home Premium, 64-bit, a 15-in-1 card reader, and front panel connector ports for easy access. there you have it. It also included Norton Internet Security 2010. It had a 1-year limited PC hardware warranty. And it says to see disclaimers on the product box. You know, that's how I always sell computers to my clients. I go, it's everything you'd ever want, it's a dream, and by the way, see the disclaimers at the bottom of your receipt. Which just negates everything else I said before that. All right, looks like we're done.
Read the fine print.
Looks like we finished.
Yay!
It says the disk was successfully cloned, and then blah, blah, blah. We just click OK on that, and we close that window. We don't have to wait for anything here. I'm just gonna pull the power plug on here.
Yep.
Do a force quit, put my Acronis rescue disk away for another day, and I'm gonna put you to work.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and disconnect your hard drive. Very good. And I will reach in here and disconnect this one. What I want you to do is pay particular attention to the way that the direction in which this drive has been installed, right? Connectors are on this side, it's in this back. Not that you have to, but we're just gonna put it back the way it was. So here's a screwdriver.
Good.
Do your worst. Do your best.
Do my best.
Do your best. It's a Freudian slip. And I'm gonna pull the SATA cable out while you're doing that. That was just temporary for our clone. And I'm going to remove the power splitter because we won't need that anymore, and we'll put that back the way it was. So your USB add-on card or USB 3 add-on card has juice. And now we're just waiting on you. No rush. Take your time. So that 16 minutes on Acronis took an hour and 20.
Yeah.
So I guess whatever Acronis tells you, multiply it times 10? No. Not, yeah, no. Maybe multiply it times 5. Carrie, I think you should wait for Acronis to shut down completely. Which one of us is the tech that's been working for 30 years? Me or that guy?
I think it's you.
I think I know how to do it. I'm pretty sure, just from real life experience, but maybe this guy I don't know on the internet is got something there. Let's just see if it works. How did the interview go yesterday? Interview was spectacular. I can't wait to edit that and share it with everybody.
Okay.
Very good. And then we're just going to slide this back in here like this. And I'm going to plug in, let's see. Should probably plug it in now, it'll be easier. Let's put this here. And the SATA cable. Right there. Then we have to slide this all the way to the back. And it goes on these little hooks back here. And then it pushes down, which locks it in. And then we put the 2 screws back in. No, when Acronis is done copying, you don't have to properly shut the computer off. There's no files in use, guys. Your paranoia about being in the Windows operating system does not apply to being in an Acronis rescue disk. So, if you're in a hurry and you want to expedite things, you don't ritualize repairs. That's what you guys are doing. You're ritualizing something that doesn't make any sense other than, well, that's the way I always do it. Well, you're not doing it efficiently. So don't ritualize things. Understand why you're doing them. And when you're on an Acronis rescue disk, there's no changes that can be made. You're not going to corrupt anything. The process is done, it's done. All right. Am I a liar? Let's find out. We're going to boot it up. Uh-oh.
This sounds like a wire caught in the fan.
That's what it is. Where is it? Where is it? Looks like it's on the graphics card.
Yeah, probably.
No?
It better not be the hard drive making that noise.
Where's that coming from? It's coming from the graphics card, but I don't see anything touching it. See, the fan stopped spinning on the graphics card. Might have to pull that graphics card back out again.
Reseat it.
Yeah, or see what I can't see. Didn't like us taking the plastic off of it, apparently.
It was protecting it.
But why am I not getting any video here? I'm wondering if I don't have that well, of course I got the graphics card in all the way. I just booted to Acronis, so it's clearly in there. I'm going to turn this back off. What am I missing? There's nothing on top of this graphics card. There's nothing hitting it that I can see. Let's turn it back on. Let's try again.
There we go.
That's better. Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
I don't know. Maybe we should try that.
And it's not making any noise anymore either. It's not doing that fan noise. So that was just very strange. You can go ahead and stand in front of the screen and enter your credentials when that comes up. We'll be booting up here in just a moment, and we'll see what it looks like here. Yeah, so these graphics cards, these modern graphics cards, they only turn the fans when, you know, the heat hits a certain point. So right now your fans are not spinning here on your GPU. And of course that's because we're not doing anything. When you start doing some graphics, start playing a game or something, and the card starts to heat up, those fans will come on. But they always come on at power on. You know, they always start running, and then after it sort of checks itself out and says, oh, I don't need these fans to run. They shut off, and that's normal. And power supplies do that now too, the good ones. The idea is to bring down the level of dust and noise. Okay, folks, he's at the login screen here. So he's about ready to enter his password, and then we'll be back to the desktop shortly. We're still waiting. The computer's not any faster. We replaced a 7200 RPM drive, 1 terabyte, with another equivalent drive, so we didn't make the machine any faster. He was worried that the drive was getting old, and he thought perhaps it was, you know, gonna fail soon. So for 50 bucks, you can buy yourself a new drive. It's basically the exact same drive. I would have gone SSD personally. He didn't want to go SSD because he didn't want to put that much money into an old machine, but my thought was, it'll be one less part you have to buy for your new machine. But the new machine he wants to build around Christmas time, he says, would be around $2,000, and he doesn't want a regular SSD, he wants an NVMe SSD. So, in that case, I agree with him, sticking with the mechanical drive for now, just to play it safe. It was a good idea. Or you could have bought an external 1 terabyte drive and just imaged it with Acronis, so that when this did fail, if it failed, you would be able to just restore onto a new drive when you're forced to. So there we are, we're back to the desktop, and we can look at the C drive and verify that we have all the right storage there. Everything's different.
Sorry, I have the stuff on the left side.
It's still loading something. Yeah, hard drive light is solid amber there. Oh, it's TeamViewer trying to go out to the network. That's why it's so slow. It's trying to grab an IP address, and we're not hooked up to a network. And so it tries, and eventually it gives up. And that gives the appearance clearly that the computer's running slower, because it is running slower. It's continually trying until it gives up. And let's go now to the Windows Explorer and take a look at the partition size and status of our new drive. Boy, it's struggling.
Yeah, you'd think.
Here it goes. There we are, HP. There's a C drive using, says there's almost
Just
600.
over 400, yeah.
Yeah, over 600 gig, or almost 600 gigs of free space remain. There's your memory card reader drives, your DVD or your Blu-ray. You've got a mapped network drive here. It looks like to a printer.
Yep.
Card reader on a
Card
printer.
reader.
I usually like to turn off drive indexing. Most people don't use it.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it on.
It'll take a while to run.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
going to untag all the files, which will take a little while, but you may not notice any performance difference. On an older machine, you're more likely to notice the performance difference than on a newer one. On a newer one, whether you turn that on or leave it off, probably won't notice. Okay, so if anybody has any final questions, we are done here. All we're going to have to do is when that's done, we'll shut it back down, put the side panel back on it, button it up, and Rich can be on his way back home with his new computer drive installed and cloned. And he keeps the old one as a full image backup. His wallpaper is awful. Boy,
He doesn't like Merlin, huh?
I'll tell you what, these people,
Gee. Huh? To each his own.
no.
I like
No,
Merlin.
apparently you have to please all of them. Your wallpaper must meet their qualifications, or they will judge you in a negative way.
I don't even know them.
What does that have? I didn't ask you that, did I? That has nothing to do with whether or not you should feel shame. Because some stranger on the internet doesn't like your wallpaper? Me? Sarcastic? Tell him to keep the case. I like it. What is there to like about this? What, are you kidding me? It's the most generic, plain, boring thing. I'll take a $200 over that any day of the week. A lot more room to work in there.
Like one of those Corsair cases would be cool.
Catherine says she would love to make you a parts list.
She would, huh?
Yeah. So she's very good at it. Catherine has provided parts lists to me. You know, it's not just a blind, here's a parts list. You can respond and say, well, I really don't want this, or we're looking to that. And she works with you to get what it is that you want that meets your needs, your budget, your expectations. She's kind of sick and twisted. She likes doing that. So reach out to Catherine when you're ready to start considering
Yeah, I mean,
parts.
looking at about November.
You can reach out to Catherine on Facebook. You can friend her on Facebook if you're on Facebook. Otherwise, you can just find her in the chat during any of my live feeds.
Okay.
And then you guys can work out how to reach out to each other. But it's free.
Awesome.
You're not obligated to use any of the parts.
I just want good parts because I want
Well,
something
she recommends only good
I want
parts.
to be able to game for the next 4 years and not have to worry about.
But she also checks compatibility with things like RAM and CPUs and things like that. So she makes sure that, you know, you're not likely to have any compatibility issues. And she enjoys doing it, so everybody's happy. And you're not, it could give you an idea for budget too. Like if you wanted to reach out to her and say, you know, let's just maybe not do it exactly the way I want it, but let's kind of give me the gist of it. You know, you're talking about $2,000 based on
About
what we
$2,000,
talked
yeah.
about. I think you could probably do it around $1,500 to $1,800. I think $2,000 may be. It's good when somebody's got a budget that sounds like it's more than they need, because it's usually the other way around in my world.
Well, I know when you want a good rig, you got to pay for it.
You do get what you pay for in this business, and the more you pay now, the longer it'll last you. You know, you spend less now, you'll have to replace it that much sooner. That usually holds true for a car too, in a lot of cases, and a house. Not always though. Let's see. Bwicca819 says, good to know that my love for part list making isn't just me. So there's another sick and twisted individual out there. All right, guys, any last questions, or we're going to wrap this up? We've got about 600 people watching live. Thank you guys for joining me. I am going to go live. So after Rich and I are finished here, I'm going to take a little break. And then I'm going to go live again, and I'm going to explain to you how building computers is like heroin. I'm going to give you an example.
A comparison for you.
I'm going to give you an example real quick here. Just to prove my point. Just to prove my point. So the way drugs work is they affect the brain to make you feel high or to make you feel euphoric, to make you feel happy.
Right.
We get that from some foods.
Endorphins, yeah.
Yeah, endorphins, dopamine. And we get that from, I'm going to turn this mic, so this is broadcasting a light right into the camera.
Oh.
And we just got really dark. So I'm going to turn the monitor off while the computer works and watch the camera. It's going to just, all the light's going to come back. So anyway, so what happens when you do drugs, if they're good drugs?
I wouldn't know.
I'm going to tell you. I can tell you because I've read a lot about it.
Okay, good.
Is you have this euphoria, this overall well-being, good feeling. And people, that's how they get addicted. They want to do that again and again and again. I want to feel that good again and again and again. Well, you can get high building a computer, and I'm going to prove this because this won't affect everybody watching, but it's going to affect a lot of people watching. Right now, you're about to get a little dopamine hit.
Ooh.
I'm going to build with this right here. This is the Core i7-8086K. Did you feel that? Did you smile? Did you nod your head? You got that little hit of dopamine. It's not obvious to you because it's happening to you, but the fact that you're like, oh, I want to see that. We're going to pair it with, this is going into an office, so we're going to put a ADATA XPG 240 gig SSD NVMe drive. Did you smile a little bit? Did you get a little buzz? Did you get that? You're welcome.
It's a geek buzz.
It is. Again, it doesn't affect everybody, but those who understand the level of the parts that I'm holding, it's basically nerd pornography is what that is. And I'm gonna pair that with, let me see what else I've got back here. One of the things that happens with drugs is people want more and more and more, right? So, if that much helped you, then imagine what this could do. These are all Core i6 8086K processors, about $450 a piece in my hands. Did you feel it? Drugs are cheaper. Good point. That's from Jensen in the chat room. Drugs are cheaper. Yes, but
Not as many side effects, though.
yeah, the health concerns are more of, either way, it's mental health concerns. but regardless of that, I'm going to start. So I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to start by building at least one of these. And Kevin says, I actually felt something good when he showed those. I know you did. You think I'm making this stuff up? You think I'm a liar? Of course you felt it. And that's why when people build a computer, they feel that hit of dopamine when everything turns on. And what we're going to do for these builds, these are going into an office, so we're not doing RGB, we're not doing gaming. We're going to pair that with a Hyper 212 Evo. Now some of you just went, ooh yeah, Hyper 212 Evo. And Catherine Anna Hauserman's favorite, Corsair Vengeance LPX RAM. In fact, Catherine helped me put this parts list together, matter of fact. Let me just say matter of fact one more time.
I'm looking up on her.
Yeah. So, you dopamine addicts, stick around for your next hit of dopamine. Once we wrap this up, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to end the video. We're going to start the next video. And what I've got is the computer from the office. I've got to disassemble what's in it and then put these parts in it. And then, get this, I'm going to take those old parts. I had a really nice customer come over. His name is IL, and he's only in Phoenix temporarily. He's going to be moving back to Washington, D.C. Like many people, struggles to make ends. He's not rich. Let's just put it that way. He's not a rich person. And he's such a nice guy, and he's got such an amazing personality that what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give him those old parts I'm gonna pull out under the condition that he comes here and he builds it with me into a new case. I'll give him the case, I'll give him a brand new case, I'll give him a new power supply, and he can have these used parts, which are, the systems were built in 2011. And for the office, that's too old, but for regular home use, these are great systems. These are Core i5s.
Nice.
They're 8 gigs of RAM. I think they're 8. They've got even an SSD, an old OCZ Vertex 4 or something like 256 or 120. So it's fast. And I'm going to give that to him for free if he'll join me on camera and build it with me together. I think it's a good deal for him, a good deal for me. What do you guys think? You think it's a good idea? They loved IL. I'm sure they love you too. But they loved IL. You know, they get sick of me. So anytime you have somebody else they always like the other person. They say, when are you going to bring that other guy back? Doesn't hurt my feelings at all. No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, really. And that's what we're going to do. We're not doing any overclocking on these chips. Remember that a K-series chip is 10% faster stock out of the box than a non-K-series chip. So just because you have a K-series chip doesn't mean you have to overclock it to get any advantage of it. If you want the fastest chip possible, you want the K version. If you want to ruin that chip, reduce its lifespan, increase the likelihood of blue screening and have reliability and performance issues, well, you go ahead and spend all your time tweaking your BIOS all day long. When you measure performance based on frequency alone, you're living in 1990s. We don't do that anymore. The speed of a computer is no longer solely based on frequency. There's caches and all different sorts of other chipsets and drivers that affect performance far more than frequency does. To me, overclocking a computer today doesn't make any sense. It's just not a measure of performance anymore. You can buy a 3.4 gigahertz computer that's 13 years old, and you can buy a 3.4 gigahertz computer brand new today, and they're both the same speed, right? Because they're both 3.4 gigahertz?
Right.
No. The 3.4 gigahertz processors today are much, much, much faster than the 3.4 gigahertz processors of 10 years ago. It's more than just frequency, people. So this idea of this fixation of overclocking to make your system faster was true back when that was how performance was measured. But today, frequency has very little to do with the overall performance. It does play I won't say very little, it plays a major role in it, but it's no longer the sole. You cannot judge how fast a computer is by asking what CPU frequency you have. Like I said, your 3.4 and my 3.4 don't run the same speed if they're different generations. And you can't overclock a CPU by opening it up and adding bigger caches. And, you know, if you can do that, I'd be all for it. Optimizing the patterns of logic and increasing the chipset and the PCIe lanes and the amount of traffic that flows. And until you can increase the amount of traffic that flows, you're always going to bottleneck. You're always going to hit the same bottleneck. And the performance difference is going to be so minute that when you're just fixated on frequency and you're not capable of increasing the data throughput through the lanes or the number of lanes, it's a pointless task. It wasn't pointless in the 90s, but it is today. It's sort of like climbing Mount Everest. Why do you do that? What's up there, a great gift shop?
There's a bunch of snow and ice.
But you ask people, why did you climb it? And they say, because I could. It was a challenge, and some people die. It's that important to them. They die before ever reaching the peak. I don't understand that. There's nothing up there worth dying over. But be that as it may, let's just clarify that. Maybe. Because a lot of people on the internet are if you go to the tech forums, you're going to see a lot of overclocking enthusiasts. And they're going to convince you it's worth doing. And I'm telling you, it's only worth doing if you get some kind of twisted entertainment out of it, because the actual reality of what you're investing and what you're risking for what you're gaining doesn't balance out anymore. So, all right. Let's see how we're doing on this. Oh, I can see the hard drive still going. So this is coming up a bit later. I'm going to put this away. I have so much work to do.
So much to do and so little time.
You know, it was 4th of July. It feels like last week. Everything's going so fast. That's the difference. I think when you're bored, you just sit there and you look at the clock. You can watch the clock for an hour to watch 5 minutes go by. And then when you're busy, what year is it again? How much time went by?
2018.
Yeah.
That could change quick.
All right, let me just address some comments here in the chat real quick, and we're going to wrap it up here. The 212 is nice, but I can't stand the mounting of it. I don't like the mounting of the 212 Evo either, but you only have to do it once per machine. Catherine says, I didn't put in the Evo 212. I don't know what Catherine put in, but that's what I went with. Should we overclock our GPUs? Overclocking a GPU isn't quite as risky as long as you're using the manufacturer's software, but you can buy an OC overclocked version of the GPU stock out of the box that is warranted and guaranteed. So it's just really a matter of how valuable your time is. If it's worth it to you to get a few more frames per second in a game that your eye cannot detect. You know, the problem with a lot of the kids out there is they're running benchmarking software. And they're using that to determine if they're going to be happy or sad. Do you have a good computer? Is it a well-performing computer? I don't know. Let's run the benchmarks and see. No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking, when you sit in front of your computer and you use your computer for whatever you use it for, do you have smooth frame rates? Are you crashing? Is it reliable?
You can't tell.
Well, some people claim they can, but you know, what's the resolution of the human eye? We have analog eyes and analog ears. This is all digital. And you should be able to determine the performance of your computer based on how it feels, not based on what benchmarking software tells you. Because if benchmarking software tells you a number that you don't like, you're effectively obeying the computer. You're obeying it. You're allowing the technology to control you, to control how you feel, to control whether or not you are happy or not. It's supposed to be the other way around. Technology is supposed to be there to assist you, not for you to accommodate it. I think running frames per second tests, running in benchmarks, and doing that there's a reason for running benchmarks, just to give you an expectation. But this concept of pushing harder for higher benchmarks is not logical. I have a hard time with it. Use the computer. Use it. Are you happy with it? Is the frame rate smooth? Who cares what the frame rate number is? Is it smooth? Does it boot fast? Does it crash, or is it reliable? These are your benchmarks. These are human benchmarks, and they're the only benchmarks that matter. I don't care what piece of software, because the pieces of software can be manipulated. The chips, you can have features for certain benchmarking software to cheat. It's fake, it's not real.
Like what Volkswagen did.
You put all its investment into whether or not you're going to be happy based on what some benchmarking software tells you. That's insanity. That's like saying, hey, do you like my wife? No, I'll go get another one. Right? Because Rich didn't like her. You know, this idea of looking for this approval from another source is bizarre. You decide for yourself if you like it. The best test that you can put a computer through is to give it to the customer. That's the best burn-in possible. And the customer has any problems, they'll let you know. If you're starting to look at heat, like, oh, what's my temperatures? Why are you doing that? Unless you're trying to solve a problem, all you're doing is looking for one. That's a weird way to go through life. Because problems present themselves when they exist. When you're just going looking for problems, I cannot condone or approve of that mental disability. As far as I'm concerned, that's what it is. So be happy with your build because you're happy with your build, because it feels good. When you find some software that tells me how you feel, you let me know. Okay, I'm off my soapbox for now.
Another delivery?
And you know, I'll tell you something else. These kids today, they're blowing their eyes out with these cell phones. So they don't have good eyes. By the age of 12, many of them are wearing glasses. Imagine what they're going to be like when they're 40, what their vision's going to be like. And they're going to tell me how important frame rates are when they don't even have 20/20 vision without assistance from glasses. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. So,
staring in front of a screen 10 hours, 11 hours a day.
When you're younger, you don't really realize it. You don't realize looking at that screen. My nephew gives me a hard time because I had the blue light filter on my phone. He goes,
Yeah,
it's
I got
so
the blue
dim.
light filter on my glasses too.
I go, well, what's your phone at? He's got brightness set to like 187%, as if that's a thing. I'm exaggerating, but it's like, I'm like, you're staring at that thing all day like that. And he wears glasses. And he's 15, he's just turned 15 years old. He's worn glasses for 4 or 5 years. He plays video games hours and hours a day. I'm not against video games. Video games are fun. Cell phones are fun, but we've got to find some moderation. Right? And you know what? If the kid was outside playing baseball all day, I'd say, come in and play some video games. You got to do something else besides baseball. You understand what I'm saying? Moderation. Find some other things. So you've got these guys with damaged eyes telling me about their frame rate. It's insanity. The world we live in is crazy. All right, so final questions, final comments. We're going to wrap this up. This is going to take a little while to process. So you and I will finish up off camera, but let's wrap it up right now. Let's stand back here and say our goodbyes. To everybody who's joined us today, thank you so much. Stick around. In about 45 minutes, I will start up a new stream for a new build. And I've got lots of videos on cloning. If you have questions about cloning, look through my video library. You can click on my name below this video and then click on videos and you'll see my entire library, or you can use YouTube search above this video and you can type in Carey Holzman space Acronis or cloning or laptop or whatever information you want. There's over 500 videos in there created over the last 8 years. Probably what you're asking is answered in there, and if not, of course, let me know. It may be a topic for a future video. So to Lance Ripplinger, Becky Beckers, Luis Meja, Catherine and her husband, all my other moderators, thank you guys so much for keeping it civil in there. Patrick Russo says thanks to Rich, of course, for your time and bringing us this fun little project. We got a little learning experience out of it and show you how easy. And do you think if you had to do this next time, would you do it yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Is your anxiety and concern, did it
It's
clear
a lot
up?
lower now. Yeah.
Is it better did you understand it better live here with me than you did on video? I
Yes.
guess because you can't fast forward me or be distracted from.
No, it's better to see it done once.
Yeah, I think when you're really there and you don't have the distractions of being at the house or at work, wherever you're watching, and a lot of people get impatient and they skip. And they don't realize they're missing, in many cases. I have people ask me questions, and I'm like, it was answered in the video. It was? This is what happens when you skip. In real life, you can't skip me. You can't fast forward me. As much as you might want to. So yes, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for driving across town and being brave to put yourself out there to the world and letting us upgrade your computer and let me know what else we can do.
Thank you very much.
We'll do something else. Maybe when it's time to build your computer.
Yeah, maybe we'll show that build on.
Maybe you can bring your parts over here and I will supervise you. I'll just breathe down the back of your neck and micromanage you.
That would like be something.
All right, guys. Again, back in about 45 minutes. We will see you then. Bye for now. And I lost my mouse.
Uh-oh.
All right. See, what I do is I hit that button right there.